Hello everyone. Hi guys. Say hello to me. Tell me where you're signing in from. So I'm going to share some stuff that I've been working on with my clients, and I want to maybe help you guys. Maybe it's something that can assist you. I know that what I'm about to share comes up a lot in our relationships. So before I start sharing, sign in. Tell me where you're signing in from. Which part of the world? Say hello to me. And I'm going to pull you up on my computer as well so I can see the comments. Hi guys, Romania, Argentina, Slovenia. So what I'm about to share today is really the birth of my inspiration for my book, A Radical Awakening. I know many of you have seen it, but if you want to read it, go to aradicalawakening.com or join my course, my 10-day course, and I'm going to go deeper into how you can radically awaken. So one of the reasons why I wrote this book is because as a therapist, I began to notice that most of us are asleep. And what do I mean by being asleep? I mean that we are living lives that are very conditioned, lives that are brainwashed, and we don't even know it. So part of our radical awakening is to wake up to the ways we are living brainwashed. We have been abducted and living brainwashed. So you're going to ask, abducted by what? What have we been abducted by, Dr. Shefali? We're abducted by two things. Very simple. The first thing we're abducted by is our culture. And the second thing we're abducted by is our families. So the course, some of you are asking how you can join the course. Go to the link. It's being put here. There's an early bird right now, and if you sign up for the course, you get 3 books of my latest work, A Radical Awakening, included in the course. 3 books. What are you waiting for? Sign up. Early bird. I'm going to go deep into what this book, thick book, talks about. I'm going to outline the journey. I'm going to give you exercises. We're going to awaken together. When you finish the 10-day deep dive, you are going to be a different human. If you are a man, take this course because it'll help you understand the women in your life. If you are a woman, you gotta take this course because here I talk about my own awakening as a woman, what has blocked me, and how we women can change the world. So it's a beautiful course. Take it. It's coming up next month. You get 3 books for free. So sign up. There's an early bird. It is the only course I will be doing this year. Okay, so back to what I was talking about. What are we conditioned by? We are conditioned by 2 things, our culture and our families. I cannot tell you how many clients I do therapy with who are completely not living free lives. You may be one of them. Why? Because when we were growing up, our parents and the culture totally infiltrated our brain and our belief systems and hijacked us. Most of us are living in PTSD mode, post-traumatic stress disorder mode. How do you know you're living in PTSD? Is when you get triggered. You don't know you're living in PTSD when the day is beautiful and you've lost weight and everybody's nice to you. You are in PTSD mode when you're triggered. So the last time you were triggered, do you remember the last time you were triggered? You lost your shit, or you became really depressed, or you crumbled into a heap on your bed and you thought you could never get up and face the day again. That means you are completely in a PTSD mode. You got triggered. And the reason you got triggered is because something attacked your sense of self. your self-worth. And that trigger and that assault to your self-worth put you into PTSD. Most of us got royally ill-treated in childhood, not because our parents are mean or evil or negative. It's because we had unconscious parents. Welcome to the world. You had an unconscious parent. I had an unconscious parent. We all have an unconscious parent. This is how the world is. That unconscious parent made us feel unworthy, crappy, yucky, shameful, guilty, not heard, not seen. So when we were young, we felt really small. And so we had to do something about it. So what did we do about it? We reacted to that feeling of smallness and created a fake personality. And that fake personality is how we have survived all our lives. All of us created a fake personality. So my fake personality was to be the savior. I wanted to save everybody, right? I took care of my anxiety by taking care of other people's anxieties. And I put myself last. This was my thing, okay? Shefali the savior. And even now in my job, there's a little bit of that, but I'm doing it out of consciousness. So I don't do it out of greed of my ego wanting validation. I'm doing it now only for me to sustain myself, not for you to sustain me, right? I had to make that shift. So we all created a fake personality. Yet, when we get triggered really hard, the fake personality doesn't survive and our trauma response comes out. So people may know this already. The trauma response is pretty much basic. Many of us know it as fight or flight. There's fight or flight, there's freeze, and there's fawning, appease, what we women do. Fight, flight, freeze, fawn. So I think men typically do fight or flight. Women do freeze and fawn. Fawning means to appease, to please, to accommodate. So we have different trauma responses. 100% I freeze, and I used to freeze and I used to fawn, right? I used to be like, oh, what do you want me to do? I'll do anything you want me to do. Sorry, I'm so sorry, it's my fault. And men, men typically, they are master fighters, and then they shut down. And you're like, it's called ghosting. Where did the ghost go? Right? The ghost is gone. Right? So men are good at that because men are classic compartmentalizers. Right? We women are connectors. So we shut up because we've been told to be good. So we completely freeze now. We're like, oh my God, it's my fault. And we like licking everybody's feet. Okay? These are trauma responses. And guess what? We don't even know they're trauma responses. Because if you tell the man who just fought and was all narcissistic and upset and angry that sweetheart, that was a trauma response, he'd be like, no, it wasn't. I'm too amazing to have trauma, right? You're an idiot. You're a fool, right? Or they may just ghost you and leave you. And if you tell them that that's a trauma response, they're like, no, you just made me sick and I'm sick and tired of you. Women, we freeze because that's the ultimate good girl who's quiet and silent. Or we fawn. Fawning means to fawn over someone. F-A-W-N. You begin to please, appease, and become really disgustingly, servile. Okay? All of us women have done it. Blamed ourselves, shamed ourselves, taken care of the other because we truly believe it's us. Right? So, it's one thing to have it. It's another thing when it happens to you, when somebody's doing it to you. So it's really hard when somebody triggers you to think that they are triggered. Because in childhood we were so shamed that when somebody shames us, we don't think that they are shamed. We think we are deserving of the shame. So we get triggered. And then there starts our trauma response, right? And then after the trauma response comes the trauma backlash, which means we eat, we go drink, we now, do some sort of addiction, self-harm, second layer of the trauma. And we don't realize that we have been abducted by our inner child. So all my work in life is about helping people uncover their trauma response, so to speak, their inner child response, their survivor response, and to help them break through the patterns. It's really hard to do when you are triggered. It's really hard to do when somebody triggers you and when you see them being triggered, because you get into trauma. And I truly believe the entire world is in a trauma reaction. Our earth is in a trauma reaction. The other day was Earth Day and people were posting things on the earth. I couldn't even post because I was like, it's such a hypocrisy to care about the earth when we're destroying the earth every single day. So the earth is in trauma, we are in trauma, traumatizing the earth, we're traumatizing our children, we're traumatizing animals. We are a species of entire global ubiquitous trauma. We are not healed. And the reason we're not healed is because of these childhood patterns and our lack of self-worth. When we have self-worth, we won't destroy the earth the way we are. When we are connected to our heart, we will not be disconnected to our children. So the first thing we need to do as humans is to wake up. Not wake up to make more money. We keep making more money and the poor keep getting poor, staying poor. The goal is not to make money in this world. The goal is to awaken. People think the goal is to have money. Goal is to buy things. Goal is for looking good and putting Botox. I'd love me some Botox. No, nothing wrong with wanting it, but that's not the goal. What is the goal? The only goal is inner freedom, inner liberation. And what are you being liberated from? From the bullshit of culture and your childhood pain. Two things, bullshit of culture and childhood pain. But if you're not even aware that the culture is full of bullshit, and if you are bending over blindly, licking culture's feet, wanting everything culture says you should want, then you're a slave to culture. What does that mean? Religion, education, achievement, marriage, competency, beauty, youth, money, wealth, status. All this are things that culture tells you to be slaves of. And because you don't have your own inner power yet, you are puppeteered by what culture tells you should be, who you should be, how you should live, how you should marry, who you should love, how you should look. So it's time for us to wake up, to realize that culture is a total hot air balloon. Once you prick it, you realize. But we're so scared to prick it. And to realize that our parents were also deeply affected, infected, traumatized by this messed up culture. So it's not our parents' fault, but they passed on bullshit ideas and belief systems of fear and scarcity and lack onto us. So they passed it on to us, and we're living, swimming in this lack, this wound. We're in trauma constantly. And you only know you're in trauma when you're triggered. When you're not triggered, you're fine. But when you're triggered, watch what happens to you. Eating away, drinking away, wanting to run away, give up. All these are like complete childlike trauma responses, responses of the inner child. All my work is around uncovering our false self to understand what is the core of our pain. So that is what this book is about. It's about helping you radically awaken and heal. And I don't just make it a motivational book. It is a deeply psychological book. It's like having 25 therapy sessions with me, if not more. And you go through a process with me. So I am doing a 10-day course on this book to help you uncover this book. So it's next month, 10 days, back to back, an hour and a half to 2 hours each day. And you get 3 books with the course. It is the only course I am doing in 2021. I will take you down a path and a journey and give you tools to radically awaken. So join my course. Go to the link. It's in both the chats, and I'll post it up above. Or go to aradicalawakening.com, and there's the link for the course there as well. But the course, I see it here posted. I see it posted. So unless we go to the core of how culture has brainwashed us and indoctrinated us, and how our childhood has put unworthiness inside us, we will not be able to awaken. We will not be able to achieve our adult self's potential for freedom. The goal is only inner liberation. And the more you think that the goal is other people's opinion and other people's validation, or the goal is to get married, or the goal is to be in a relationship or have children, you will be lost. The goal is not to have children. In fact, we should stop having children pronto. The goal is not to be married. The goal is to take care of your own inner child and to marry your damn self. When we heal from within, that is when we can achieve inner liberation. So, some things for you to think about today. Are you in a trauma response? Have you achieved inner liberation? Would you like to achieve inner liberation? Take my course, 10 days with you next month, back to back, deep dive into your radical awakening. Thank you for joining me, guys. Just a quick little burst of thought and inspiration.